Okay, so let's suppose you're doing like a scalloped leaf or one that you're shading where you do need to cut wire. If it's totally not the end of the world at all if you don't cut enough wire. So let's suppose I actually, with this one's done, but let's suppose I had planned on adding another layer for whatever reason. If I had, I probably would have just called it a day and said, that looks great, and just ended it there. But let's suppose I really, really wanted that last layer. So just cut another piece of some length, again, estimate. And again, well, I'll show you again how I estimate these in a second. And then put about, just hold down about 3 inches. Now, the way that you spiral it around, whether you spiral it towards you or away, will depend on how you do your basic frame. Meaning if you're left-handed or if you go that way, if you go to the left first, then you want to, go that way. You'd want to go away from you with your wrapping. If you do it the way I do it, which is to the right side first and up and then down the left side, you're going to wrap towards you and just give it a good, few wraps, maybe 4 or 5 really tight ones going kind of up from about 1/4 of an inch and then doing a few good wraps on the bottom. And then you just start again. And look, it's barely even that much thicker. And so then I go, okay, well, now I'm just going to start my scallops again, and you just go. So it doesn't matter, if you don't, I'm being a horrible, again, this makes it look like the spinner is me that's defective right now, because I'm used to holding it at a certain angle, and my wrists are still a little weird. So then you just go about your day like normal, I'm like, okay, I want to put another scallop right there. I'm going to end it there, cut it off. I'm going to put a little scallop right on that one, pull it off, stick it down. And again, I think most people do the scallops from below. I do them from above for whatever reason. Because again, I've learned most of mine and so I'm going to press it there and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to bring my scallop around. And I'm just showing this to you to show you that when you're done, you're not going to even be able to tell the difference of one that, that I did all in one continuous cut or not. And then I want to have enough on the scallop to bring it around. So pushing that out. And these are the ones that I kind of free form them. So I'm going to put a little bottom on that one. Bring that one, bring it around. You're going to have more wires sticking out at the end, of course. But not the end of the world. I'm going to cut that one off. Go a little bit shorter. Bring it around. And then bring it back up this other side. And these, because the wire does get a little bit wonky, I actually really do by sight. So I'm going to end it right about there. That's not quite even with that one, but I'm looking more at how big this scallop is, so I'm kind of judging that I'm going to have to make a decision about one being off balance or the other, meaning either the spike is going to look longer than that one, or that's because the wire's gotten a little unbalanced. But that's okay though, because the overall leaf will still look good, if I do say so myself. Okay, so, and again, figuring out where I'm putting that scallop through right there, bring it around, pushing it down again. And then I just need a little bit, and I cut off a lot more wire. But again, I'm not too worried about the paddle wire, because that's not very expensive. And then doing my little scallop on the end, doing that little wiggle to give it a point. Not all scallops need points, but this is what I'm going for in this guy. And then wrapping it off. And now, you can't even tell that I did that one as a separate piece of wire. Right? It looks totally fine. And it just took a second to do that. So my point with this is don't get too pulled off my wire, cut them again. And then you will have, more twisted wire on the bottom, but we're going to do our little tamp down trick, and it's really not going to matter. Tamp it down. It's really thick right now. You can see that. But tamp it down, and we're flat again. So and look at that. You couldn't tell that I just added that on, right? Can't tell anything from the wire. So yeah, I cut the wire, but to be honest, and especially if I made those leaves again, I probably would deliberately not cut it so much, because getting the beads off and on 6 feet of wire when I was working with it was way more annoying than if I had just tied it off somewhere in the middle, to be honest. So now that I'm glad you made me think about that, because next time I think I will do it that way. Like deliberately make it too short. But even if you just do it by accident, can't tell. Can't tell. A little bit thicker there on the bottom, barely. Can't tell I just did 2 separate pieces of wire. So just go for it. Estimate. Now, your question about the estimating. If I were to estimate this, if I know what size I'm going for. But again, I freestyled those leaves. I knew what size I was generally going for. But I would know that, okay, so I would count this as like a 3-inch here. And I know it's not quite 3 inches. I overestimate. And then just multiply across, just multiply across. Because these are all going to be like kind of the same, because of the curvature, about the same length as that. So multiply by however many those are. But again, if you count too short, if you make the wire too short, just do the wraparound trick and you're good to go. It's like seamless. So no worries on that. Works for the shading and for the scalloping to add the wire to it. So I hope that helps.